Yeah, so WGI, it stands for Winter Guard International, and that's just the umbrella company, right? There it has basically three um, subgroups to it. There's WGI Color Guard, there's WGI Percussion, and there's WGI Winds, right? So we are obviously a part of WGI Percussion, and in that, I would say it is a combination of the marching arts, right? And I think it's marching arts because it is an art form. It's something being created via music and sight. And it's also a competitive activity in the sense of it's nationwide, right? Like it spans all the way from the West Coast, East Coast to how our members like to call it the Gulf Coast, and even up north in those countries or states as well. Apologies, but it's nationwide, and everyone's under the same kind of rubric or guideline of classifications. So you don't feel like you're in over your head. So there's a couple of classes. There's A class, right, which is kind of the novice, the beginning. There is open class, which is that second tier, and then there's world class, right, which is what would be setting the standard or the highest level of the activity. And you work your way up those ranks um, to achieve that world class status. But it's more so than just status. It's developing tools. Where there are, if you want to actually go dive into those sheets, there are words that describe each classification, right? Like in A class, it's basic or starting to know the concepts, and then in open class it's understanding those concepts, and in world class it's mastering those concepts. So it's a way of going through the activity, while also being able to create something, which I think is unique, because in the school system you're kind of always stuck to a curriculum, right? And there's very little room for creativity or your own personality in it. And this activity gives you that opportunity. It gives you the opportunity to be personally and emotionally connected to something, but also the activity is constantly changing. It is evolving because people are getting more creative, right? So as people get creative, they try new things, and then that becomes a new standard. And it's this symbiotic relationship of creativity driving innovation, right? And so it's an activity that spans the winter seasons, right? So usually the competitions start around February and it ends in April. Um, for a lot of the independent organizations, it's comprised of people, ranging from ages 16 all the way out to 22 years old, and they gather on the weekends only, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, somewhere along those lines, to rehearse. And basically everything you see is put together on just weekends throughout, the months of January, February, and March. And for the scholastic level, obviously it happens, however the schools see fit in regards to rehearsal, but there are scholastic versions of it too, where the students in schools don't compete with the independent people, right? So I guess you could say the independent ones are more like the professional athletes, and the schools are more like scholastic athletes. You know, so it's a competitive activity with a lot of creative backing to it, and a lot of just straight up passion as well. So if you want to know how it works, like if that's kind of the question, then it's more so based on each classification has a minute requirement of how many minutes their show can be, and people use music and visual to try and portray some concept, some show that will get perceived by audience members and judges. So it's like if everyone got together to make one painting and then put that out in an art show to be viewed and judged and bought, and that's what I think is so cool about it is you can decide which one you like most, right? Like you can go into an art show and you might like one painting, but your friend might like the other one, and it's totally fine. There doesn't, there's not a right or wrong way for it. You just choose what you like and you enjoy that. Right? Same thing with movies or anything else. Like any art form has that, and it's an art form. It's a competitive art form where the art is the membership. So the human beings are creating the art in real time, right? And I think that resonates more so now than ever because, right, like kids nowadays do the whole streaming thing, I think, right? Like, I don't know what it's called. Is it Twitch, right? Twitch or something like that, where people just watch other people like play video games and they spend hours on it. I don't understand it, but obviously some people do, right? It's kind of the same concept. Like some people don't understand why we're wearing, colored pajamas and playing drums, but other people really enjoy it and they watch it. So it's a special niche activity that satiates the creative and emotional needs for a lot of people. So it's over your eye.
Yeah, that was
Cool.
exactly what I'm looking for.
Perfect.
Our memories on my screen, two lovers in this mystic dream. Baby, come back to me, come back to me. Too much time on my phone, baby, do you still sleep alone? Come back to me, come back to me. Remember me, fresh out of black and white.
Oh my god, I almost did that. Oh crap.
Hey Zach, where are we going?
I'm going in the band. Hey! We're gonna play some hand-to-hands. We might play a 4 or 2.
A 4 or a 2 or a 4 or 2?
Both.
Okay. I like that.
Monarch was a place that didn't seem super real to me when it was first started in 2015. That was around the time I started getting really intrigued by what the marching activity was, and especially indoor. And my perception was that every indoor group was just a collection of the best drummers and the best performers from different drum corps and different backgrounds coming together to create a really unique product. And when Monarch was first created and the first videos came out on YouTube, I couldn't believe that one of those groups who could play at such a high level could be so close to home. And that idea was so foreign and it almost seemed infeasible just because of what the indoor Texas scene was like at that time. And the fact that I get to contribute to that legacy now as a member still amazes me.
I chose Monarch because of the people. It's the people that provide just an atmosphere and an environment that's unlike anything else. It's these people that have taught me to be a better person. They've taught me to be a better performer, and they inspire me every day that I'm around them. They, it, it's at Monarch that I've gotten the best memories that I've ever had. And then play one last note.
My favorite Monarch memory was the rehearsals that we had outside of rehearsal at Tompkins High School. And being able to do that with help from the percussion director was so amazing, just because of the fact that I've never really worked as hard as I did outside of rehearsal with a band group before, until I got to Monarch. And then when we started doing that, it really opened my eyes to how good we could be and how much we could actually work to get to that goal. So that's definitely the most important memory I have from Monarch.
The significance of WI Finals, to me, at least personally, it's a celebration. You know, it's something where, I mean, you imagine like graduation, I guess you could say, you know, where a child works years of their life, you know, to hopefully graduate. And once they do graduate, it's like a celebration where everyone comes together and every unique individual is graduating with their own degree, you know? And that's what WGI Finals is like to me, is every group is coming to this event with their own identity, their own product, their own membership. And it's a celebration. It's where people can enjoy the art that you're putting out, and you can enjoy everyone else's art, you know? And it's unlike anything else because everyone there is so passionate about one small niche activity. You know, everyone there in WGI Percussion Finals is like percussion or visual based focus that just enjoys percussion and visual based things, you know, because it's all that, right? And so I think in that regards, WGI Finals, to me at least, it is a celebration more so than a competitive thing, you know, because again, like I said before, there's so much out of our hands. Like there's so much of this that's subjective. There's so much of the activity that's opinion based. As much as we try and, you know, put judging sheets on it and numbers and this and that, it's still an opinion, right? And it's still any given night, anything can happen. And it's just, it's cool to see everyone's take on the activity. You know, it's what, like, I always related to that YouTube video of, I think it's this compilation of people singing Stand By Me, but from all over the world, or Lean On Me. It's one of those two songs, but you know, people singing in different languages, using different instruments, different styles of music. But at the end of the day, you still get that feeling of what the emotion is portraying through that song. It's like that, you know, where everyone has their own show and they're trying to perform it to the best of their ability, right? So WGI Finals is a celebration of all the hard work that everyone there has put into it, you know. And it's not just that year, but it's years and years and years prior to that as well, because it's become such a big event. You know, like, where else can you as a performing member say you perform for 20,000 people? You know, like, go to any job interview and say like, hey, as, you know, an electrical engineer, I performed for 20,000 people. Like, probably not, right? But as a marching member, you can say that. You can say that you were a part of an artistic show that performed for thousands and thousands and thousands of people, you know, and you did that. No one else did it for you. Like, you were the one who wore a drum and marched and ran around the floor doing that. So I guess that's the simplest way I can describe it, you know, to someone who doesn't know what WGI is that all you got to think about is just a celebration of achievements and hours of work that you've put in, in the style of a performance. Well, because again, like, go watch any finals montage. Every like last note video capture they get, that person is probably just tearing up. Like, so many members, as soon as they finish their show, are crying. You're running up the tunnel, you're crying. At retreat, you're crying, and it's emotional. It's something that means a lot, and that's why I think it's so special. Is that it means so much to everyone there. So
anyway, we decided to wake up a little early just to do some subs by ourselves, maybe get some choreo on the floor of our new bass feature. Because apparently the school is opening a little earlier than we expected, so hopefully no one is there drumming. We're the only ones rehearsing.
I remember the first day of Monarch, where we had like our first full day. The bass line stayed up pretty late that night writing body for it, and we showed up 2 hours early to rehearsal, I think it was. And we just started working very, very hard. And that set the tone for the entire season for us. After that day, we understood the baseline that we were, and we never questioned it again. Like Monarch 2020, that baseline, Royal Bass 2020, worked very hard. And that first day will always serve as a reminder of that. So.
There's a huge significance in each month. It really depends on where you are in the season. If you're preseason, fundamentals. I think December and everything pre-winter camp, it's very important to solidify the foundation for your season, for your playing, for everything. That's the most crucial part in my mind of the season.
from a musical standpoint, I feel like we just express ourselves differently than other groups. Not that the way that we express is better or the way that they express is not as good, but it's just it has our brand on it. Like when people watch us, it's very easy for them to dive deeper into what our whole organization is about. I feel like our philosophical reasonings and teachings bleed into the way that we play. And ultimately, I think that's why Monarch is something special from a musical standpoint.
Started as a simple project, create a place for performers such as myself and my friends here in Texas, create a home for us to be able to go to. It's definitely become more than that. It's become family. It's become a lot more than that for certain people. Why Monarch? It's a great experience. It's a great marching experience. We constantly have like the top performers in DCI and WJI coming out auditioning. We have such a high level of interest. We have such a high volume of fans and just like excited kids that are not just willing to be good drummers, but I mean they're actually starting to fall along the Monarch credo, which is be a good human being, be kind to others, good spirited auditions. Just Monarch's a really positive place for you to go and to learn, even if you don't end up making it. It's a great learning experience. It's a great tool to have in your belt.
Out of all the groups I've marched, Monarch has definitely been the most welcoming, both as a performer and member, but also as like people. During the season, I decided to make a big life decision and move 6 hours away from South Louisiana and move out here to Houston. And when I was making that decision, I definitely asked for advice from the rest of Royal Base and staff and other members of the group to just, I guess, solidify my ideas and see if that was a good decision, both to benefit the group and to benefit myself as a person. And because of that, like, I got to know a little bit more about the staff and other members and just realized that just how like great of people everyone is. So when I was thinking about that, I was thinking about more or less from the beginning with the audition process that Monarch doesn't just look for great players, they also look for great people. And because of that, like, it just makes things more smoothly. I just remember from other groups that we really wouldn't look for the people, we would more look for the player itself. And sometimes it would work out, everyone would just get along and it would work. But other groups of March, it just wouldn't work. We couldn't get past do other things. But I still with being that every group is different, and I'm just very grateful with how Monarch is and how much it shaped me into being a better person. And with that, I just want to thank Monarch, just making me a better person and a better performer. And if I can do it again, I'll do it in a heartbeat.
Like, it goes by way quicker. I was telling the battery this next weekend is off. The weekend after that, we have one rehearsal weekend, and then we start shows. You got a preview show, you got the real show. Rich comes back to stage the end of the show, we got the regional. Then you got a week off, and then we got the Rich comes back, and then next show, weekend, show, date. That makes sense? It's very quick from now on. Cool. So you just have to understand that process. Make sense? Cool. Now, at least from my perspective, the thing I love about Ensemble is if we perform, right? You have to understand you are a performer. Cool. Like, just imagine whatever your favorite band is, and you buy tickets, to, like a lot of expensive tickets to go see them perform. You don't care if they're sick. You don't care if they've had a bad day. You don't care about anything other than going to see your favorite band. Does that make sense? So treat it like this. Like, you're somebody's favorite band. They pay money to come see you, right? And you got to perform, but you have to practice like you're going to do that. I would rather you overhype now, because we can clean that. Don't wait till the show to overhype. I think overhype is awesome, as in the fact if it's hype. Does that make sense? I think overhype is just a concept that means you do more at the show than you do at rehearsal. But if you're just hyped all the time, then it's just hype. Make sense? So let's do that. Now, there's certain parts of the show that don't call for that, obviously, but it's still the same performance vibe, right? Like all this stuff, like how true are you making it? Are you actually meaning something with this stuff? Or are you just like, they told me to touch my face, right? Things like that are gonna matter. It's gonna make a difference. Your first audience member is literally where Rich is sitting. That's how close they are to you. Cool? And you need to think about that. Like where you were sitting when you saw Monarch to tell you that I want to join Monarch. Same thing for someone else. Does that make sense? How all that works? Cool? So it's gonna be a quick process, it's gonna be fast, right? I will do my best.
Really, from January to February is when we're putting the show together, getting ready for shows. So priorities change throughout those months depending on what's coming up. But, I think we usually have a plan for all of that, and each weekend is dedicated to a certain topic to make those things happen,
Monarch philosophy is tough to describe. I could go into our technical approach or our theological approach behind what we're doing, but for me, the biggest thing is that we value and truly cherish not only performing a production, but giving the production life and making it something truly meaningful and something that lives and breathes on its own and becomes its own entity, if you will. It's something that transcends anything that we do at any rehearsal or at any show or any public display that we have. It's something that we hope brings in more people who just want to know what it's about and what Monarch is about. And to me, you know, it's creating true human connections from person to person, first and foremost and above all else. Just creating those connections so that it stops becoming a task, it stops becoming a chore, it stops becoming a rehearsal, and it becomes something that you love to do, that you can't wait to do the next time out, that you're not thinking, well, I've got to make sure I do this. Instead, you're thinking, I can't wait to do this, or I can't wait to see this, or I can't wait to play this. To me, each month is so valuable because it's another month that you have lost. And it's another step towards the end of the season. It's another step towards the end of that ensemble as it exists for that particular season. It's another opportunity that you don't have to perform your lot. It's another opportunity you don't have to perform your show. And so for me, as an educator, I have to make sure that every comment, every rep, every nugget of information that I give to the members is something valuable and constructive and something that they can have that they'll feel, okay, this is something meaningful to me that I can take and I can make whatever it is that I'm working on at this point in time the best version possible.
stepped on my hand.
Alright, who's next?
Alright, yeah, here we go. Oh,
Who's on top? We have one more snare. Who is it?
this isn't even a
Alright,
snare.
who is this? Oh, it's Bailey. What's up, Bailey?
Alright, let's get the next one. Let's go. My chest cavity.
Aaron, get right on top. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh God. I'm in pain. Alright, you said.
12 counts. And third, fourth, fifth, sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 done. Leave on 1, Blake and Sebastian.
Look at that. Oh my god. That's a big one.
Hey, fair. It's 2 against 1. I'm technically still winning, so.
I came in late and he has everybody. I suck at football.
connected. Thank you. That's my phone. So welcome to Dayton. Alright, I need just a couple of things. I need this water. Also need these. This magical place. We don't know where we are, but we're gonna make it. We're gonna make a really good run through. It's gonna be really cool.
So the last week of Monarch, with everything shutting down, we managed to get together and put a cap on the season. And after that weekend, I knew that Monarch was a forever home for me. I was always going to be about Monarch because I got it then. Just the energy that we had, seeing the staff's excitement, their reactions to what we were doing, it was everything that I cared about. I didn't really go worrying about how we were going to place out at finals or anything. To me, it was just the last block with some of the best people that I knew performing my favorite show ever. And I'll always remember that weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we, the design process early on, it's just interesting how it all starts, how a small word or just, it started with a line. Brian Harmson brought the show idea concept to us, and it started with a line from the movie La La Land and just one singular line. And that kind of, pun intended, stoked, a flame within the design team to all bring their own values to it. So the show was entitled Flicker. And again, it meant different things to everyone. And that was the point. We wanted the show to be 100% individualized and experience-based. We didn't want to put a narrative to it. We just wanted to put feelings and emotion to it. So at least for me, I'll describe what it meant to me, where Flicker was, I treated it like the timeline of your life, where your life starts with the flicker. Like the flicker of a heartbeat is how your life starts, and it eventually grows into a flame of you growing up and, you achieving what you need to in your life. And then at the very end, your life ends with a flicker. Like your heart beats and it flatlines and that flicker stops. So my view and my, emotional connection to the show was that of just the start of a heartbeat and the end of a heartbeat, and how when people say your life flashes before your eyes at the end, how all of the moments you've been through in your life, accumulate like that, and it just goes as a flicker, and with the flicker is a part of a bigger flame. Like your life is a part of all of humanity and this whole living, species that we are, and everyone's life kind of dies out like that, of just small flickers of a big flame, and what can you do to be a part of that flame? Like how is your flicker going to be important to that flame? So it to me was more emotional in that sense of just your life. Like your life can come and go in a flicker, but everything in between it is so much more than that. Like a flicker can represent flame and fire can provide so much energy and heat and things like that, but also a light. A light can be a guiding point. It can light up a dark room, as metaphorical as you want to take that, and so there's so much emotion that was, rooted within that concept of Flickr. And that's why you saw our membership, like, you know, covering the life of their eyes at parts of the show, and the whole floor was the membership, you know, and the light idea represented throughout the show. It was just all about the life that these members bring to the show and just in general to life, you know. So that's kind of what the show meant to me. But, you know, like I said, anyone can put whatever interpretation they want to it, but that's when I was teaching it, and when I was teaching parts of the show and trying to come up with, you know, certain musical phrases or visual phrases, that's I would reference back to that. Like, what part of that life timeline are we at, and how can we represent that idea throughout the show? So, Flickr, Monarch 2020. Like, it literally was that, right? Like, the show, the season ended in a Flickr. Like, how else could you represent Flickr? It's like how the season ended. It started and it ended before we all thought, because coronavirus blew out the candle, you know. But it is what it is. So. I mean, I think we can pretty positively say this is the best Monarch that's ever been. Right? I think that was a great way to cap the season. It was really good. Twice. All right. Right? So I think that it's a symptom of the fact that you guys started a certain way. Like back in audition season, this was one of the first years we didn't have to really like recruit. You guys showed up, and the people we wanted showed up. You know, like the right type of human showed up. And from there, it's easy, right? Like then we just do our job. But you guys are putting the work in. You're putting the effort in. You're putting the time in, right? Money, all of that. You're putting. Right? The show is yours. As much as we enjoyed it, it's because you did it. Right? Like, if another group of humans would have done that same show, we would not have enjoyed it as much as we just did. Because you bring the show to life, because the show was about you. Right? I think you need to like make sure you take that out of the season. That this show is about you. From my standpoint, thank you. You guys are all awesome. I love all of you.
I don't want to record. I don't want to record this. We take off your shoes? No, we take. Okay, I don't know.
I got wieners.
Hey, wiener time.